Good evening. It's Thursday night. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. Roll 'em if you don't. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. Roll 'em if you don't. Put the marijuana smoke down your throat. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. Roll 'em if you don't. Put the marijuana smoke down your throat. Oh yeah, it's Thursday. Looking forward to this night. Just to chill and relax. I've been busy all day long. Get to relax now. This used to be the work. Now this is the relaxation. Now this is the fun time. And I hope it's fun for you, as it is for me. Good evening, Seth. How are you feeling? Seth is out test driving motorcycles. Test drive an Indian. Try an Indian out. See how you like that one. Huh. Squad.
I'm gonna get mine. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. Don't tell me how you're off and down. When you smile in my face, when you play me like a clown. You're a fool, bitch. So just step back. I'm mad dad when I come down strap. I thought you were my piece, but you played me out. Now I'm mad as hell and I'm full of doubt. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty.
Let's smoke.
Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty.
Let's smoke.
I'm back on the scene. It's time to get mean. I'm a lean. Revolution machine. For what people stay, they sway. For today is good as any day. Y'all feel slightly this, let's resist. Raise your fist and pump like this. Promises all the time. Don't cross the line, and you know it's mine. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with?
Jim Miller.
Let us roll.
Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with?
Jim Miller.
Let's roll. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Let's see. Let's roll. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Let's see.
Let's vape. Let's make America vape again.
Mava.
Let's make America bong again. Let's make America smoke again.
Lassa.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard Trump last night.
Nope.
I've never heard this before in my life. I've been watching politics for many years, and I've never seen this. What Trump did last night, and it wasn't a campaign commercial. He was just speaking. He actually put music behind him as he was speaking, like trumpets and violins and stuff, and like a build-up. As he was speaking, it was like a build-up behind him. I've never heard that before in my life. Any politician doing that. It was very strange.
What was
Have you
the?
ever seen that, Jim?
Can you hear me?
Besides, like people in the 40s doing that stuff with Wagner. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't hear you. Hold on. Shit.
Can you hear me?
There, I'm sorry. That was me.
What was you?
Did you ever hear people I've never seen that before in my life.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Where Trump had music behind him as he
I
was.
mean, what was the venue? You know,
It was just like he was a
was it a rally? I don't understand.
kinda, yeah. It was just. It
Was
was
it
a
outside?
party.
Was it outside a courtroom?
Most likely, that's
Yeah.
mostly where he spends his time now. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. Don't get me wrong, but fair is
No.
fair. Fair is fair.
Well, I'm not following the clown show really, so
It is a clown show.
yeah.
Who's the third guy this year? Who's our third choice? Do we have a libertarian or green guy yet? No, they're waiting.
No.
Why not? What are they doing over there? Get their crap together.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, what about Kennedy? Kennedy's running, isn't he?
Yeah,
Independent.
no telling how that'll shake things out. It doesn't mean it'll affect one more than the other. It's just gonna, I don't know. I have very little sway over it. I'm not going to convince anybody's mind one way or the other. I don't think that'd be possible. So, it registers with me, but I don't get it let too deep into things
Well,
I got going through my skull here.
well, the state politics was very interesting this week. We had
Oh, yeah.
Senator Durr lost his seat after one term. He has what, a month and a half to do some lame duck stuff. Maybe he'll help us now. How
Well,
about now?
all he can do is, um, he really should understand that all co-sponsors of S342 let patients down. They gave them some sort of hope with their co-sponsorship and feel really played. That all many of us asked all along was ask Nick Scutari to let this bill be heard, and nobody asked him.
No,
Nobody asked the Senate. No, nobody asked.
no.
What does co-sponsorship extend to? Now he was on the health committee, so I kind of really resent that. And I had planned on calling Tina today, but I might do that tomorrow. Like I do have a little bit of time, and saying he needs to make Senator Scutari say no or ignore him. One of the two. That's but he can't ignore somebody that doesn't ask him to perform as a Senate president. And he could ignore. Somebody who's a co-sponsor would have said, "Yeah, I asked him to allow Joe Fratelli to post it," and gotten a response. Then we'd have that, but we don't even have that. So, excuse me for not being real excited about things right now.
We got Bupkis,
Uh,
Zilch, Nada,
uh, yeah.
Ungats.
Well, I guess we could want to know real quick. We're losing a co-sponsor from that district for S342, and it's going to be reintroduced as whatever its next incarnation will be. I would assume. Uh, and when that happens, are you going to be better or worse than your predecessor? It's just hard to get enthusiastic about it right now.
Well, who's the new guy now? What's his name? The career
Um,
politician. The career politician that took his place.
yeah, I believe he was a former assemblyman from a district who was ousted when Dora came in with two other assembly mates. He was ousted, I believe, and then he came back to get the nomination to run against her for Senate rather than running to get his old seat back, if I have that correct. And I don't know how much money was put into the campaign against him, but I haven't seen the same exact campaign commercial more times than that in a long time. And this is like the in between. Is, state elections, not supposed to have a whole lot of money. It was supposed to actually be very competitive in Vin Gopal's district. So I was glad to see how that worked out, that he's still with us as primary and original co-sponsors for medical cannabis home grow and adult home grow bills.
The guy's name is John Berzacelli.
Yeah. Yes. So Ohio became a legalized for adult state. Where does that leave them with their medical program? Are their medical patients allowed to grow their own in Ohio? And
anyone can.
That small club that we're in, I'm hoping it doesn't get larger, because apparently Delaware is now also in that boat.
Well, Chris Goldstein might know.
Yeah,
he actually might know. Hi, Chris.
Who would?
We're just talking about Ohio. How you doing, buddy?
How are you?
What's up,
I my audio just started, so I heard you say Ohio. So I assume you're discussing the legalization vote this week in Ohio.
Who can grow in Ohio? Patients or anybody?
Well, anybody over 21, adults, can have 6 plants in Ohio.
Oh, come on, man. Come on.
I know. Yeah, I know. I know. We haven't started the kindergarten garden yet, but we're getting there. Okay. Ronald Rice's worst fears of the kindergarten garden in Newark are going to be in the future. So, so did you see the meme I created with Joaquin Phoenix playing Senator Scutari in the Napoleon of New Jersey? That'll be the first thing that they make at the new Netflix facility in Fort Monmouth. And I was thinking about some other people who could play the roles. So who do you think should play Governor Murphy? I was thinking John Malkovich or Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman would probably make a pretty good Governor Murphy. And then we could have like an Olympus Has Fallen kind of thing in Trenton. You know what I mean? It'd be kind of cool. But how about Senator Gopal? John Malkovich might be able to play Senator Gopal too. I mean, John Malkovich is a pretty flexible guy. But I think that Governor Murphy would be best played by John Malkovich.
I could see that. I could really see that. Yeah. He could do it justice.
I think Senator Scutari is indeed the Napoleon of New Jersey. I think just like Napoleon, who was largely successful and then really through hubris lost all of his power, I think that Senator Scutari, in taking the battle against home grow to the people of the Garden State, is setting himself up for his own Waterloo in politics here one day, very soon. So I do see Senator Scutari as the Napoleon of New Jersey, and this is from a Democrat, so I'm just saying. So what do you guys think about I mean, I saw a lot of Democrats like kissing each other at on election day at the end of the night this week. They really were celebrating. I saw a lot of bars and stuff, but I didn't see any politicians. Not one politician lit up a joint to celebrate their victory this week. And I was a little disappointed at that.
You would think they'd grow into that real quick. I mean, as a celebration, it's more responsible than tilting a drink,
How about Senator Mukherjee? I mean, former assemblyman, now Senator Raj Mukherjee, Mr. Hudson County. He's like a one-man MSO. At one point, he owned like 11 dispensary licenses in the tri-state area. You'd think that now Senator Mukherjee, at least, even if he doesn't smoke himself, maybe he could give out a few joints at on victory night, like some victory joints, But no,
he's allowed to do so.
Yes,
adults can transfer up to 1 ounce between each other with no money being involved, and it says so right in the damn law.
I mean, I think that all the police in Hudson County should light up outside of Senator McCurgy's campaign events. And thank him
They
for making
could.
it possible.
Well,
I'm just in it,
no,
election week puts me in a very sarcastic mood. It's like election week, you end up getting all those ads on YouTube for all the candidates, and you see a lot of hilarious stuff in election week. And even funnier this week to me is the sort of outcome of it. I mean, I am no fan of what happened to the Republican Party, but I hope you guys are paying attention to what happened in Philadelphia, which is that the Republicans have been completely kicked out of the city council. Philadelphia has a city council charter that says that one party can't hold all the seats. So the Republican Party, for the last couple decades, even though they don't really have many members in Philadelphia per se, have held on to these city council seats just because they're the only organized minority in town. But that changed big this week when the Working Families Party, the WFP, they took 2 seats in Philadelphia and they kind of kicked the Republicans off council and took the 2 minority seats. Now, WFP is like the progressive party basically in Philly. And I do think that this is what could happen in New Jersey. Philadelphia politics play a lot like New Jersey in that the Republicans were on the decline for a long time. It was kind of like a one-party town, the Democrats. And after a while, when it's a one-party town, people get real comfortable. And when they get comfortable, they get really corrupt, and that pisses voters off really fast. And so progressive voters went for the Working Families Party in Philly. And I think the Democrats in New Jersey ought to see a wake-up call there because they're going to have a progressive challenge to their seats in New Jersey in the future.
hmm.
I mean, wouldn't you rather run? I remember when Ken Wolski, I helped manage Ken Wolski's campaign for state senate, and he ran as a Green Party candidate. And he and I learned really quick that the Green Party, there's a reason that they don't hold a lot of seats. They're not as organized as they should be, I guess, for a political party. And Cornel West, who I'm supporting kind of, in his nascent presidential prospects, he toyed around with the Green Party for a minute, and then he decided he was going to go independent. So I do think that there isn't really a place for a lot of independent minds in politics right now. So you got to do what Bernie Sanders did and other politicians did in the past: run as an independent. Don't pick a party. Run as an independent and make an honest political run. In New Jersey, it doesn't take that many votes to win a seat. You can win a state senate seat with like 30,000 votes, which when you think about it is not that many people voting. So, I mean, if you can get that many plays on your YouTube video or that many plays on your SoundCloud song, like you could be a state assemblyman. Like it's that simple, or assemblywoman.
Well, it is possible. I mean, I got 2,038 votes in 2007 running for a state senate in the 10th district, New Jersey. And, it was like on just under 5% of the vote. And I had one issue only. You couldn't draw me out into anything else. And that was the fun game, of doing it. No money raised, no money spent. I got to meet with the editorial review board of the Asbury Park Press and meet my senator at the time, Andrew Cecil, who had successfully avoided ever seeing me for like years before that.
Oh, man.
So I got to say hello in the lobby of the old Asbury Park Press building off of Route 66 off the Parkway. And it was a pivotal moment in my life because I cornered him. I mean, and it took like 100 signatures, and nobody would care. So I was going to be in there and sitting next to him, and I saw him in the lobby, and I said, "Listen, for whatever we've been discussing to this point, there is something not about medical marijuana that I find disturbing. Is that the acting commissioner of health, Dr. George D. Fernando, said it's the policy of the Department of Health when the commissioner says it's the policy. So he said that there is something other than marijuana for every indication people say it's good for, that works as good or better. And I said, I find that a very dangerous way to be treating things in the health department. He looks me right in the face and goes, I'm sorry, I tuned you out. He did that, like, right, thinking, and I like look like I just won something. I said, oh, tactical error, dude. Oh, big mistake. So he was waiting for the shoe to drop, and it never did for 45 minutes. And we were sitting shoulder to shoulder. I mean, it was real uncomfortable for him. And that he was talking about, well, yeah, this legislature is not in tune with the constituents because it's Democrats. They're just totally out of touch. And it's my turn. I say, I agree with my senator finally on one issue. It's really, the legislature is out of touch with constituents. Like, I tried to meet my senator, Cecila, for years. And it took like running for office to meet him down in the lobby. And when I told him about, and I'd already discussed that issue about the Department of Health and their opinion, and I said, when I told that to my senator in the lobby here, do you recall what you said to me, Senator? And he had nothing to say. It was the longest 3 seconds. I mean, I counted to 3. I almost felt sorry for him for a second. So I went through that, and that wasn't the best part. When it was done, he tried to save face in front of 4 editors, Randy Bergman and crew. And he offered his hand, and I reached out and shook him. He says, Jim, it was finally good to meet you. And I go, really? It looked painful to me. And I sort of threw his hand and turned around, and meanwhile, Randy came over, so wanted to talk and had his notepad out. And my point is, just doing that for 100 votes, no money raised, no money spent, and not a lot of forms to fill out. It was a way to raise an issue. And sometimes that's like, in a way, all it takes. So I think somebody who's a qualified candidate, I don't know why more people don't have that fun. And I was suggesting it earlier in the year that, somebody is a fun thing to do. And it really doesn't take a lot.
It does take a lot. I mean, it takes this in that, and I'm sure you found this out. You remember Frank Fulbrook?
Yeah.
Frank was a great guy, lived down in Camden. He was a longtime drug activist, legalization activist. He wanted to decriminalize, he wanted to go after the Portugal model and decriminalize all drugs. And when he ran for a local seat, I think he was running for like Camden zoning board or some shit like that.
That would be about right. Yeah.
Dude, the Democrats came after him and sent flyers around all the neighborhoods with pictures of Frank in a straitjacket that says, I want to legalize heroin. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. That's what Norcross machine will do around Camden, bro. And Frank after that, yeah, look, I've seen what the parties do when you try and do an independent run. N.A. Poe ran for the Attorney General of Pennsylvania. And that got us into a little trouble because you can't run for Attorney General unless, you're a lawyer approved by the State Bar Association. Otherwise, it's called, election fraud. So we had to withdraw his name from the ballot and go out to Harrisburg to do that. So it's good to run for an office that you're qualified for. And anybody, of a certain age is qualified to be a politician. Don't necessarily run for attorney general unless you're a lawyer, because that can get you into a little bit of trouble. So, but yeah,
that's for sure.
I think that you're right, though. I think that it's important. Like Frank might have won, like he was in it to win it. He wasn't in it to just have there's 2 ways to run for office. You run to win, or you run to make a point. And I think more people should run to make a point. And both parties hate that because they hate anybody that draws even 1 vote away from their candidate. So they will litigiously try and fight access to the ballot. So when Poe ran for attorney general in Pennsylvania, election representatives for both the Democrats and the Republicans filed suit against him in court in Harrisburg, like right away. And there are people like that. They have operatives to take you down PR wise, like they did with Frank, and on base technicalities. Like if you didn't cross the T and dot the I on all your election registration forms,
Mm.
the other party's lawyer is going to find it and you're going to lose access to the ballot. So when I say being well organized, like the Green Party needs to be better organized to be more successful, that's what I mean. You need to go in it to bureaucratically write out every form perfectly so that the opposition can't kick you off the ballot. You have to fight a very uphill fight to not be a mainstream party politician and even have a chancy run. So, but yeah, I think more people should run for a point rather than just to win.
Well, yeah, I ran as a libertarian, and the odd nature of it coming about is both Ken Wolski and I went to speak at their statewide conference in a little out of the way place in Atlantic City, and I'd made that point that I think this is where they should lead in, with their candidates. This is like a strong suit, and I made my point so they would take it away, and on the way out, Lou said, "Why don't you run?" And I laughed because I had like 6 reasons why I shouldn't run. I mean, I didn't have them right off the top of my head then, but I was asked that by Rob Robinson, and when he heard I was running, like, "Oh my God, how many ways do you think he can embarrass you?" I'm like, "Well, if anybody ever noticed, there's a dog hair between my state inspection sticker in the window. There's a dog hair between it and the window for a reason. It came off a Cadillac DeVille, and the guy had a dog, and whatever. I'm just saying that, but the thing was somehow very rewarding to make sense and get to talk to people where I could, the old now defunct Ocean County Observer editorial review board as well, and everybody sends their questionnaires to you, for Vote Smart and stuff, and I just liked making a valid point, and didn't cost any money, and then I got that 4.26%, actually it was the votes I got in a close election. That could be the difference, and it certainly wouldn't lose votes, and that was sort of my message to legislators. Look, it's a popular issue, talking about medical cannabis and the backstory and all that.
Oh, wait. So the libertarians, because I have to go in just a minute, Jim, but I spoke to the Libertarian State Conference in New Jersey once too. They were really nice. They had me as the keynote speaker for their annual conference. Nicest folks. But at the end, they told me they were going to pay me like a stipend for the talk and the travel fees. And we had agreed around, it's like a couple $100 or whatever. And they're like, "Oh, Chris, we've got your stipend here." And I was like, "Great." They're like, "You don't mind accepting it in pure silver, do you?" And I'm like, no, I'll take it. And they did. They gave me like $200 worth of pure silver bars and stuck it in my hand. And that is the best out of all the freaking lecture fees that I've ever collected. That is definitely the most memorable.
That's pretty good,
Amazing.
They come in a little 1 ounce wafer. I had some like in the 80s, little 1 ounce wafers, and
oh, it was great. I thought it was great.
We did get something done, though. I absolutely hated getting signatures. Standing outside a food store and, "Hi, are you registered to vote?" and blah blah blah. I hate it, and I want to do it. So Lou Jasikoff came, and he's like a salesman, man. He got me those things all, but I had to have them certified as a note. Well, I had gone to a notary, that I'd done these myself, and I know a notary, and so we, we did that. But somehow then, or the next year or two, they changed the rules where you didn't have to be a resident of the district to collect votes for some, to do that. Meaning they could have their little posse that if you wanted to run as a libertarian, they could go help you get the signatures, because it was going to be 100 for the Senate or the assembly. Then I walked across the state to deliver my signature petitions too, but it took 2 days, just to have some fun.
Well,
There's a whole
listen,
thing.
Jim,
Yeah.
Chris,
I think that we should hold like a seminar. Like you should hold a seminar like how to run for office for fun and to make a point. How to run for political office to make friends, have fun, and smoke weed instead of, necessarily
Well,
win the seat. So
I used the fact that I'm neither Democrat nor Republican, I'm libertarian. I said, listen, if you ask a Democrat what he thinks about a Democrat's bill, I'll tell you what he's going to think. And if you ask a Republican what the Republican thinks about a Republican's bill, they're going to tell you what to think. But if you ask me, I got to have a Democrat and a Republican in my office who can argue their points to me. And I'll sit back like Judge Jim and dismiss them and vote how I think makes most sense. But at least I'd be doing the homework. I'd have a lot more to do because then nobody gonna like me.
That's the thing. Like if you run as an independent right now or a non-Republican or Democrat and you win a seat and you actually win that seat, things are so close right now. You would be in the position you described. That independent vote would be a tiebreaker a lot of the time.
And
you know what I mean?
I said to Britta Wenzel, who is from La Valette and running as a Democrat, I said, listen, if you would embrace what I'm saying, I'd drop out and endorse you and ask people to vote for you. I just have fun. I know she wouldn't do that, and she wouldn't. But my point really was to show that there's no reason not to, and you could be the deciding factor. And to show legislators, it's like, well, how far behind a curve can you be to not see that this is an issue that would resonate and not lose votes?
Hey, now it's 2023, and all those Democrats who said that the sky was going to fall and the highways would all crash together as soon as we legalized marijuana.
Yeah,
that all happened. It all happened. The world fell apart.
Hey,
and they're still in office.
It's amazing. A new political party could be the "We Were Right" party.
Oh man, how about like "We Were High" party? That's I'm gonna get going. I gotta get going, guys.
Give me 2 minutes. I got a question for you. I was at Rip's dispensary. They had a sign at the dispensary that said "locally grown craft cannabis." So I said to the guy, "What's locally grown craft cannabis?" He says, "Oh, we have Breakwater's cannabis right here. It's medical." I was like, "Oh, Breakwater's craft cannabis. It's hand trimmed." He says, "Yeah, sure." Chris, what is craft cannabis, and do we have it in New Jersey?
Corporations are quick to adopt that kind of language and add it to their marketing. Look at what they've done with social equity stuff. They've done cross branding and sort of done a quick takeover of that stuff too. Craft cannabis is what a lot of people like me and activism communities would have described small grows. We would have said a small business or a family farm that was trying to grow marijuana, or people using more traditional organic techniques and less processing. Sun-grown cannabis would have been craft grown. That would have been the concept of craft cannabis, not big batches. So I'm not sure that Breakwater qualifies, unless maybe they've got a separate farm where they're, again, it's sort of like, the Heineken brand buying all the microbreweries. But in the case of New Jersey, it's hard to say. I think that really that's a sad thing to hear because there are a couple of actual, what I would consider craft cannabis brands coming online in New Jersey. There are some local small businesses that are putting out small craft products. And they're just reaching medical and adult use stores here in New Jersey. But look at what the big corporations are doing, like even Breakwater, which isn't necessarily a big MSO, but they've been in New Jersey for over a decade, and they're sort of one of the notorious first sellers. I remember Breakwater was one of the first to sell medical cannabis in New Jersey over a decade ago. And I remember us complaining that it was $70 an eighth a decade ago. I mean, how has the price never freaking come down? And seriously, for $70 an eighth, and I looked at a menu today for a small business that opened, and they had nothing but what was it? Ascend product. for $70 an eighth on $140 a quarter. Seriously, $140 a quarter, dude. That quarter better go out and mow my lawn. It better do the leaves and get them down by the curb before I smoke it, because it's not going to be worth it any other way. I have never ever smoked weed in my life that I've smoked it and gone, that tastes like $150 a quarter. Like, fuck it, never. Jesus. Like, I mean, seriously. Like, weed tastes better when you get a good deal. There are not enough millionaire BMW white bros in New Jersey to keep these businesses afloat. Like, we are trying to say that a small business model is reselling a corporate product with a markup. That is like trying to start a local pizza place by selling Domino's medium cheese pizzas for $70 each. Okay. Freaking start a Kickstarter and sell me a pizza for $10. Okay. Give me a break. Anyway, I gotta get going, guys. I have a quick appointment to run on. But I will talk to you soon. This has been fun.
All right.
Thank you.
Catch y'all later.
Goldstein. Wow. Great analogy there. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Selling Domino's pizza at Two Brothers. And he had an even better one where if the tomato sauce from pizza was made from cannabis, a pizza would cost like $4,500 in New Jersey. I think he did the math.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'd rather, if they're going to have like a pair of dices as their whole logo, and they could have done like with a 5 and a 2 rather than a 2 and a 1. Something. It's like a 2-1. It's a losing roll. That is losing. I mean, unless you're betting specifically on it. Apps.
Crapping out.
Yeah. Hey, you want to buy some pizza? It's named after something they call craps when you play dice. Maybe that was why. Who knows?
So no, we don't have craft cannabis in New Jersey. I was just asking that question. I don't. Well, we may have it, but it's not at Breakwater. And if it is, I want to know more about it. Like, tell me more about this craft cannabis at Breakwater.
Yeah, I don't know how that could be done. I mean, you might make a batch of some, craft beer. I can understand that. I mean, it would apply a lot easier to that than craft cannabis. I mean,
Here, let's look up the definition.
What, of craft cannabis?
Yeah.
Well, does it follow the?
Okay, craft cannabis refers to superior quality cannabis produced in small batches. Growing methods in craft cannabis utilize minimal natural resources, making this type of cultivation environmentally friendly.
Small batch. So what would a small batch be?
Taking their time curing, hand trimming to maintain trichomes and aesthetics.
Yeah. Oh, small batch.
Small batch.
Yeah.
Because with commercial grows, profit and motive and curing is kept to a minimum. Oh, profit is the motive and curing is kept to a minimum. And I've experienced that. I bought cannabis from a dispensary and it was not cured and was awful. It smelled like hay. They rushed it. They rushed it out.
Well, I would think you might experience that more if people could grow their own to a degree, as in states that can. Because if you grow more than you need and you grow for superiority, you have more than you need, it kind of becomes a reputation thing. People like to be the best at something, and I like for them to be the best at something, so I don't have to.
Just amazing that Ohio got home grow.
Yeah.
Ohio.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hmm.
It's bittersweet. I mean, I'm happy for them, but geez,
We tell Scutari, Aha is a lot closer than Colorado. Maybe he could go visit, see how they get in on the ground floor.
yeah, you could take a drive to Ohio, Scutari.
Yeah.
Rattari. His name is Rattari. Sorry, Rattari.
Yeah, well, he had enough enablers, It wasn't like people were hunting for rats.
Don of cannabis. Some Don. You killed your grandkid. You killed your children. They died, Scutari. They died waiting for your dumbass.
Well, like he told you, he's been thinking about it, discussing it with whoever. And just a new session coming. Maybe he's got an idea for homegirl, for patients. You know. I'm just stumped that if we couldn't get co-sponsors to ask him to allow it to be posted, just understand the hold he has over his own party, but with 5 of the 8 being from the Republican Party, and well, through my efforts, through constituents of 3 of the 5, they just didn't do it. And now, the incoming or the minority leader, Senator Bucco, sponsored both of the versions of S342, S3420 before it, and then 342 and whatever it's going to be. That's assuming it gets reposted, but I think that's pretty much a gimme in this case. And but what's going to be different? What are they going to co-sponsor? I mean, literally, what they call it, signing on. But I was never fully understood that it's possible that signing on is a 100% description of everything that they'll do for the bill. They simply sign on, which means, in effect, yeah, I mean, if I had to vote for it now, I'd vote for it. Doesn't mean I'm going to talk to any of my colleagues about it. It doesn't mean I'm going to ask for it to be heard.
Yeah, what's that called? What's that called?
It's enabled. They're totally enabled Senate president to make it possible to not be heard. An informational hearing. It's not a vote, not a voting hearing. Information. He didn't allow information to be heard in committee. On the record, where committee members from both sides of the aisle, both sides of the issue would have a chance to ask questions in real time of those who came to testify in favor of it. It's a great way to get information and become well informed. So the trick simply is right out in plain sight, say there's no will in the legislature, according to Senator Scutari. And there's no will in the legislature, according to Herb Conaway, the health committee chairman, where the version of the bill A987, where that is. And to say there's no will in the legislature, or there's no will in the committee to do this, it's to do what? There's no will. They haven't had a hearing yet. That's where you get the will. You have the hearing, you listen to what people say, then tell me there's no will. They don't tell me there's no will before you allow information to be heard. And when you're the one keeping it from being heard, concurrently saying, well, the reason there's no hearings is there's no will. It's a no-win situation. And I don't know what it's going to take. I really don't.
We want information. 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 Who are you? The new number 2. Who is number 1? You are number 6. I am not a number. I am a free man.
Uh-huh.
I just like this part.
Information. Information.
It's a great sample right there. We want information. That's Iron Maiden, by the way. In case you didn't know, that was Iron Maiden, The Prisoner.
I did not know that. Information.
Iron Maiden, by the way. Oh, so here Seth says Breakwater does small batch of strains. I would say they are the best of this state. Just my opinion. I would agree with that too, that they are the best of the state. What qualifies as craft cannabis? How small of a batch? What is the parameters and what is it? What is craft cannabis? How big of a batch? How small of a batch? How many plants? What is the process for it? Why is it different than commercial grow? I want to know.
The thing about craft cannabis is, I mean, if it says small batch, but can it be then reproduced the exact same small batch over and over? Or is that hurry while supplies last, and you like it and then it's gone?
Right, one off. Special edition. Is that craft cannabis or is that just teasing me with cannabis?
I think it's just a word that fits, buy local, things like that.
Yeah, organic. We have organic cannabis. Okay.
I found if you just go, oh yeah, it's organic, it ends it. Everybody's happy.
Everything's organic. Damn it. I'm organic. You're organic. We're all organic. Oh man. That's semantics, but I want to know. I really want to know if you're going to say you're craft cannabis, you got to prove it to me. I want to see it. And I can't even see it because you can't look at it. I can't touch it, can't smell it. What a state we live in. Can't touch it, can't smell it, can't grow it. Can't do nothing. No nothing in this state. You can't even look at it and open it up and look at it in a dispensary. Like you can't touch it and smell it.
A discussion that hasn't really been had is it is now an adult product. Before you'd be growing an illegal product. And thus penalties were established as guidelines for what that would be. Then it changed from growing an illegal plant, a drug, to growing an illegal adult product. But the penalties are the same as when it was an illegal drug. Yeah. And that doesn't sound fair. I don't mean fair to just in sympathy with who would be getting caught, but it doesn't seem like how laws should change. When a law changes, the criminal penalties or statutes are generally revised that help it happen. But I don't like that the growing's still the same. I mean, Willie Beamer's situation made that very clear. If you're going to say, no, you're not allowed to grow it. However, we're going to lower the penalties if you do. Oh, no, that's encouraging.
It's absolutely crazy. And I think it's low-key racism, Jim. Or maybe not so low-key. Like I said, Harry Anslinger would love this stuff. I made a meme with Harry Anslinger, Scutari, and Murphy in the same picture together. They belong together, the three of them.
Yeah. I won't say what it was, but our friend Gary Sage did a painting of a 3-person totem pole thing. And it was as politically obscene as you could get. I'm not even gonna say.
Oh, please.
No.
Was it New Jersey or national?
Oh, it's more national.
Okay.
And was somehow would be offended to those with certain religious, I don't mean individual like religions, just anybody who was religious. I don't know. He was an atheist, so one of a kind. Oh boy. Back in the day.
Yep. Well, we got 2 weeks till Thanksgiving. That's going to be a fun one. Looking forward to that. And we got fight night here Saturday up in Morris County, up in Dover.
What would fight night be?
UFC night. They're going to show the UFC fights, and we're all going to do dabs. and watch the
We're
fight.
in a location.
Yes, in a secret location up in Dover.
Yeah, it would seem kind of possible in a pinch, and especially when it's hard to travel. If people did a Zoom meeting, all of the same kind, at a sporting event or something, if it was live, you'd be watching it however you were watching it, wherever you were, but you could be 5 or 6 people, kind of taking part. How did the fight night weekend how'd it go last week?
Oh, it was great. I had a great time. They also have games and they play cards, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. It's like the Raccoon Lodge. But with weed.
Yeah, that's an old time reference for such a young man as you. Yeah.
That's actually before my time. It's actually way before my time.
Yeah.
But reruns.
It was part of my childhood, the Honeymooners, and it would come on. And I guess I was born in 1952, so I'd be young, but the memories of a very familiar introduction musically, and the moon, the crescent moon thing, and all that. And my dad loved that show. And it's funny watching reruns later, and I can relate to why he liked it. It was a little bit of Ralph Cramden and a lot of people, and a funny show.
That was the best show.
Raccoon Lodge.
The Raccoon Lodge, though, they always go to this Raccoon Lodge and they have these little tails on their hats, and they would go, "Ooh."
And what I like is that was live TV too. There was no take two. It was all live. I don't know that any just didn't make it, because they were that bad, but you watch the reruns, and when Ralph Cramden scratches his neck, that means he's forgotten his lines and he needs a little extra help. And you think back, he does that a lot.
Funny. Yeah, there's a lot of lost episodes that were just played once and never saw them again. And they released them. I got a whole bunch of those. That's good stuff. I got that, Three Stooges. That's a good one. Abbott and Costello.
That took me to see the 1957 version of the Three Stooges at the Atlantic City Steel Pier. I see a horse dive into a big bug pool of water, followed by the Three Stooges. I don't remember. I guess it was Joe Besser that was with him then, and Curler being gone. And Shemp, Mo. And it was funny. They just stood there, same as Cheech and Chong do now, doing their 2-man thing. They got 2 chairs and a spotlight.
So wait, you saw them live?
Yeah.
Oh wow!
You know, the whole hit, boom, and come around, hit you in the head. And you can't get anything.
In '57, you saw them. That
Yeah.
was. It could have been Joe Besser.
Yeah.
Joe
You
Besser
know,
was still there, yeah, or Joe DeRita.
yeah.
I think
You
that was.
know, it was, yeah, it was just pretty weird as a kid, you know. I was getting out and doing things like going to see Willie Mays, you know, play baseball and that area of my life. Things like that. See, you know, our family was the opposite of having money, but there were just still things you could do cheaply, a subway to a Major League Baseball game.
Yeah,
I
back
mean,
then. Yeah.
a train subway, you know,
Oh
from,
yeah.
yeah, where we were.
Not anymore, but back then,
Yeah,
yeah, it was possible. You could go to a couple of games and afford it.
yeah,
Not anymore.
yeah.
You can't even afford a beer at the park now.
Oh, no, no,
$8 a beer?
no. Oh,
No.
I spoiled the guy. I had to buy the guy 2 beers because I used to go to the old Yankee Stadium. And during batting practice, you know, the walkway between the good seats and the upper seats, you know, goes all the way around. Well, not in Yankee Stadium, all the way out to Monument Park, and back. So during batting practice, if you were walking uh, away, you know, with the home plate to your back, you'd hear the crack of the bat. And if you were walking towards me and crack of a bat, and at the crack of the bat, you looked up and saw me go like this, you'd duck. And it'd be off like over in left field, and we'd be out right field. Ah ha ha. You know. And I did it to one guy, and he had 2 beers, and he went like that, and all the beer went, and you know, and I bought him 2 beers, and it was like $20. I mean, it wasn't that much then, it was like $9. It was really a lot even then. But what was good is if you stayed in one spot, like you were hanging out for a second, people sitting around you would start to do it, you know, because they see somebody coming and 5 or 6 people would do that.
That's fun.
A lot of the ball game fun was beforehand. And finding out where could you sneak a smoke. Always a way.
Yeah, I don't want to get caught smoking or vaping at a sporting event and get kicked out.
Net, right, yeah. No. Even just the littlest, and that would have done the most is when you go to a concert, you know, some of the best music's going on, and I just want to take a toke, you know. So sometimes the best thing they play is after they're done, you know, or come back and more. Everybody stands there, and I have like an aluminum foil pipe I would make, and I have like about 3 big tokes worth in it. And when everybody stand up for a second, I'm too old for this shit, and I'd sit down and I'd take a really big, quick one and blow it downwards, and then I'd take a second really big one, I'd blow it up because you could see it by then. You know, you could see the smoke of any kind looks bad, and they'd come back for an encore, and something about 2 abrupt intrusions into my lungs of something that would have to be a magnificent, you know. And then, you know, you crush up that and throw it away. And then did some pretty memorable concerts that way. Kathy was with me. We saw Paul McCartney in Philadelphia, and there was 3 Philadelphia police sitting in front of us, off duty, obviously. And when that happened, one of them looked like he wanted to spring into action. Like he goes, "I smell weed." And the guy who was apparently the alpha of the 3 said, "Nah, pyrotechnics or something." You know, live and let die.
Pyrotechnics.
Yeah, live and let die. They have the whole thing going on, you know. And you know, the inner me was, I felt like slapping him in the head and going, nah, he's right. It was pot. Dumbass.
Pyrotechnics? What are you, nuts?
Yeah, that was it. That was the summation. I've never.
What was your first concert?
Um, Iron Butterfly and Chicago Transit Authority. Never heard of Chicago Transit Authority at the time. It was my 17th birthday. Yeah, it
Wow.
was at the in Homedale. It was then the Garden State Art Center on the
Yeah,
Parkway,
yeah.
116. Yeah. And this whole new band, Chicago Transit Authority, man, they had horns and everything. And if you lean back, um, on the blanket, you could actually feel it. And I was not smoking cannabis at that time in my life. I was 17, and it was 1969. And but we did drink some, you know, not a lot, but some. And let's see, not that long after that, I saw Janis Joplin 6 weeks before she died.
Wow.
Yeah, that was probably the best concert, I suppose, of my life. You know, same venue, but we decided with a friend that you'd go down into the where the seats are, and we found two, like it's about 15 rows deep. We walked down like we owned the place. They didn't have like people checking tickets. You just walk down and take them like you owned it. And
Right.
some come by tickets, and you'd look at your tickets and go, "Oh, standing room. I'm sorry." You'd leave, and nobody came. So we saw the whole thing from really pretty close. And she was on. She wasn't out of it or nothing. She was like good. She was doing pretty good then. Amazing. What about you?
Well, that was my first concert venue too. Was the Art Center, and I saw Crosby, Stills, and Nash there for my first concert.
Really?
Yeah, that was great.
Wow, that would have been good there.
Oh man,
Yeah, really.
that's a great venue.
It is. It always was. I know not that long ago, 7, 8 years. Oh, I don't know. Went to see Eric Clapton. I believe it was Eric Clapton and Steve Miller Band, which is a really good combination. And we had lawn seats, and the guy looking at tickets getting into inside turned his back. So I just kind of walked on in. And not far down though, just to, get a good seat. When Steve Miller Band was on, I had a half a joint, and we was playing Joker Tell You're a Midnight Smoker, I had to light one up. And the woman that was checking for the really good seats, like halfway down, she was in there, she could see me. And that's all I had. So I like put it like in my mouth, and I stuck it on my tongue, and like stuck my tongue out, and the joint stuck to it back in like a lizard looking right at her. And just because I couldn't, that was me saying, hey, I'll just swallow it. Stay where you are. So there's never penalties. I mean, it's not like I've never had any consequences for some reason. In small time.
Yeah, I'm going up to see some rugby games this year up in New York, and I don't want to get kicked out because it's a long ride to go up there.
Where about?
Uh, it's pretty far up there. Hold on, it's the New York
Big.
Ironworkers.
That's a nice drive.
Let's see. They play. Oh wow. Yeah, I went last year for my first time. It was great. I I had a lot of fun. Let's see. Where is this place? Huh. Doesn't say here.
What is there a rugby league or something? I don't know anything about rugby.
Yeah, Major League Rugby. There's a lot of teams. And I went to my first game there last year. It was great. Me, Mike, and Chris went. We had a good time. It doesn't say where the stadium is. It's a really nice stadium, brand new. Let's see. How about
I could watch rugby. It seems pretty interesting.
Memorial Ground? Why is this a secret of where this place is? It tells you how to get there. Accessible from Manhattan, on a 25-minute train ride from Grand Central, right off the Hutchinson River Parkway, close to the I-95 and Cross Country Parkway. Where is that? Where's this place? Mount Vernon. There it is. Mount Vernon.
Oh, really?
It's a nice ride up there.
Hmm.
It's about a 2-blunt ride. I think we timed it out to about 2 blunts. And we sat in the away section. So there was 4 busloads of Old Glory fans from Washington drive up there. And they're making noise. They got cowbells. They're loud. And we're sitting there. We're like, wow, we're in the right spot. A lot of energy here. At the end, the fourth quarter of the rugby game, the whole stand moved down to the front of the, like, where they,
Yeah.
like, they moved down. Everybody just moved down. Flags draped over the thing. Horns. It was just so loud. They weren't moving. It was organized. It was amazing. And I think on that day, me and Chris became, and Mike became Washington Old Glory fans. Because the fans are great.
Did you say the away side you went to?
We went to the away team where the away team sits. Yeah, so we were sitting with the away fans.
So now, are you the away team fans now?
I think we're always going to sit there at the away team side. Yeah, that's fun. It's fun.
It's more fun being there.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I can't understand.
Rugby fans are insane, especially if you're an away fan and you're going to take a bus from Washington. You're pretty insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, hey, let me get to the most important part of the show. I want to thank CMMNJ for supporting us all these years. I want to thank Canasense, UFCW, Jackson Storms, Smoking Monkey, Arlo Glass, OprahMachine.com, Pure Puff Lifestyle Shop, and SativaCross.org. And our list begins with Cheryl, Sabina, Diane, Gracie, Cindy May, Marie, Jack, Joan, Randy, Polly, Bill, Chad, Jeremy, Colette, Matt, Troy, Russ, Roger, Jay, Ella, Hattie, Jackie, Anthony, Jake, Armando, Felicia, Lynn, Dan, Sean, Joyce, Lori, Frank, Brian, Flo, Carl, Thorne, Frank, Lorraine, Terry, Charlotte, Cher, Jaybird, Michael, Marley, Colette, Brendan, Red, Rico, Lulu, Becky, and Jeff Oakes. Oh. Jim, thank you. We'll catch you next time.
There will be a next time. We'll be there.
We'll be there, and you'll be there, and we'll see you there. They went with songs to the battle. They were young, straight of limb, true of eye, steady, and aglow. They were staunch to the end against odds uncounted. They fell with their faces to the foe. They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will.